It's good to be here with you, at least virtually, today. And as we continue our journey through the story, we're going from chapter 4 into chapter 5. Last week, we began our time together in the book of Exodus. There's so many things that go on with Moses. We talked about on Sunday about the old commercial, is it live or is it Memorex? And the question for us, is it something that's really in the Bible, or if it's something we remember, falsely remember, like Cecil B. DeMille and the Ten Commandments? So the question comes with Moses. We focused on his encounter with the divine, with the bush that burns but is not consumed, about Moses taking the time to shift his position to look at the bush, and then God encountering him, God speaking to him, God giving him instructions. It is certainly holy ground. And I mentioned briefly on Sunday, but I want to focus more on this today. Our time on holy ground, where it is so clear that God is close to us, those moments are fleeting. They're never meant to last forever, and sometimes they can be few and far between. The great gift we have from God is the gift of memory. Because while we cannot stay up on that mountain, up on that spiritual connection with God where it feels so close that we can touch the Lord, or we can feel the warmth coming off into our hearts, we need to have that gift of memory, because we're not supposed to stay on that mountain. When Moses encountered God, God then told Moses, I need you to go. When Elijah encountered God, God told Elijah, I need you to go. Even when you have the story of the transfiguration in the New Testament, we'll hear that here in a few weeks, the Sunday before we begin Lent. Even there, it was not for Peter, James, or John to remain on that mountain, even though Peter wanted to set up a tent and a dwelling place to keep that moment and make sure that moment would not end. Still, from there was work to be done. The point of holy ground is about seeing things from a higher ground, from a different perspective, from the everyday that goes on in our work, in our homes, in our schools, on the street, in our cars, to see things the way that God sees them, to care about things the way that God cares about them. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, every man who would do anything well must come to it from higher ground. I think there is truth to that. To do things well, to do things right, to do things righteous and good, we need to come at it with God-shaped eyes and a God-shaped vision. So my encouragement for you this week, this day, this moment, is to say a prayer. In the hustle and bustle of everything that goes on around us, say a prayer just to still yourselves. When you are in the middle of an argument, when you're feeling that your anger is growing up, when you are involved with discussions with someone else, most likely on social media, and you just want to let somebody have it, it is the point to take that breath, to take that break, to remember not simply who you are, but whose you are. The name that God gave to Moses, the name that God gives to us, is I am. I am who I am. I will be who I will be. And God sends us out as ministers and agents of reconciling love. That means that we forgive and we continue to forgive. It means that we stand in the gap for those who cannot stand up for themselves at all. It means we defend those who have no one else. It means we help the helpless. Now, this is a daunting task, and sometimes we might not even notice that, but maybe that's the place from higher ground we also need to be today, to see the world again as God sees it, and to pray that most difficult of prayers. Lord, break my heart with the things that break your heart. Lord, give me a heart for the world. Give me a vision for the world. And Lord, help me to turn. Help me to take that first step that first step of reconciliation, that first step of helping those in need. Lord, I cannot do this without you. This is the great story of Moses. We will continue that story this week at St. Mark. We're going to explore Exodus chapter 20 and the giving of God's law, the Ten Commandments. It's a reminder there when we hear about the law, we oftentimes hear it as something that is restrictive, something that is a bunch of thou shalt nots. In fact, a lot of people look at the church as a disapproving teacher that is wagging the finger and saying, you're not supposed to do that. The law is meant to be lived out joyfully. The law is the guardrail in our lives to help us to keep it within the lines, to help us to live a life that is more abundant for ourselves, more abundant for all of our neighbors, in a life that gives glory to God. So I hope that you will join us. I hope that if you're unable to be with us in physical form on Saturday night or Sunday morning, that you'll join us virtually. And as always, I invite you to post any questions, to ask any questions, and I will be happy to address these either on Sunday morning or throughout the week as we gather together here virtually. May God bless you this week. I hope to see you this Sunday for worship. Exodus chapter 20, chapter 5 of the story. Also, we will be celebrating Super Bowl of Caring Sunday, so please bring a non-perishable dollar bill to help fight hunger in our area. And also, we'll be celebrating Scout Sunday as well. May God bless you. May God keep you. May God's face shine upon you. May you have peace from God, and may you have God's vision as we seek holy ground, as we seek to see from higher ground, and as we move together, remembering that the great I Am is always with us. Blessings to you.